Good morning, Liz.
Good morning, my friend. It is a new day.
It is Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, it has been a week. For those that might be watching this later, it's been inauguration week. So not only is it now 2021 and a new year, it truly is a new year in terms of our national governance. New day in terms of a female in the vice president role of our country. And even though our day to day may not feel a lot different than it did in 2020, it just feels new. Yeah, I mentioned my word for the year last time is spark. And it feels like we're sparking on our way up, I guess, is how I feel. 2020 felt a little bit like we were like on the decline all year. So this is really nice. Feel a little energy, feel optimistic. And we haven't talked much about this, but I'm a Hoosier. I'm also a football and basketball fan, as most Midwesterners are. And IU beat Iowa last night in basketball, and Iowa was ranked number 4 in the country. So I'm super excited and super tired, and my voice is scratchy because I was yelling and screaming and all kinds of excited. So lots to be excited about this
That's
week.
awesome.
Yeah.
I that wasn't on my radar, that game, but that's a funny connection is that my mom is a Hoosier
Oh, I
as
didn't know
well. And she refers to herself as a Hoosier girl all the
that.
time,
Oh,
all
okay.
the time. And as you know, she moved in with me a week and a half ago, and the shower in her apartment hasn't been working super well yet. Like the hot water's not quite calibrated.
Okay.
So I brought her into the house to take a shower in my bathroom yesterday, and I've never had a bidet in my life, nor was I seeking out a bidet, but we have one in our master bath, and I got her all set up to go in the shower, and then she came out. She said, "What is going on with the toilet? That toilet tried to attack me. I am a Hoosier girl. We do not have toilets like that." And
No, we don't.
she was just constantly referring to herself as a Hoosier girl.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, we're lucky to have toilets. Certainly that toilet's like that fancy thing. Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm excited for your team. I'll have to tell her about it. She's not a big basketball person, but she'll still be excited because it's Hoosiers. It's Hoosier related. Anything Hoosier related is exciting.
Cool. Yeah. She can glow in a win for at least a day or two.
Mm-hmm. I've had a weird few days since, including the inauguration, but really more it continued a lot yesterday, which was our first day without Donald Trump as our president. I feel two things. Like, I have for the past 4 years, increasingly with 2020 being the highest pitch of this, felt like the world is gonna end. Like, this is it, and I'm not a religious person, but I've just felt like there's so much that's so awful, and we're just going like, and I've spent so much mental and emotional energy contemplating that, and just being affected and informed by it, that I kind of didn't know what to do with myself yesterday, because there's all of this energy that I don't have to spend feeling like Donald Trump is single-handedly driving us down to the devil's lair.
Wow.
So it's almost like I don't know what to do with myself. And yet, here's the other feeling that I've had, and I saw this on the internet a little bit. I feel the way you feel when your parents are away, and at first you were like, see you later, parents, like good riddance. Like Joe Biden, like I wasn't the biggest fan of Joe Biden. He was just like the kind of slightly inappropriate sidekick to Barack Obama. And now, when I was listening to him with his speech, and don't even get me started on Kamala yet, but when I was listening to his speech, it was like, oh my God, the parents are home. Thank God, the parents are home. We're gonna be okay. It's okay. I listened. I was like held on to every word that he said, and it was like a salve coming over me.
Wow. So you have been feeling it.
Yeah, but I think it's more on a subconscious level, because on my top layer of consciousness, I've, for all intents and purposes, I've adopted my mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just doing all the regular stuff to take care of the kids and, the house and the 5 million pets. And now my mom, who requires constant care. And so those are on the surface, but then oh, right, and work too, because I'm supposed to be, working. Right. But then on this subconscious level, I'm kind of rudderless. I'm like, what? Well, where do we go from here? Because I don't have to spend all of that energy thinking that we're going to hell in a handbasket.
Wow. What a weight lifted.
I don't know. Do you resonate with that at all? What were your feelings while you were watching the inauguration?
I only got to see little snippets because I had things scheduled. I was just proud. And truly, I don't know that I had all of the emotion around despair that you had throughout. I had many moments of just disgust, because what I saw coming out of Washington was not what I teach my children or the type of person I hope to be at all. And it was more than just Trump. It was just so much. And I read something last week that just said, sometimes when you see and hear things that you are just believe are wrong, don't be so angry or have emotion about how can that be. Instead, take it as great, now I know how not to be. Now I can teach my kids and teach others how not to be, and have some very practical examples. So I just kind of took that to heart, and then became very proud on Wednesday that we have a woman who is right there by the side of the president, and a cabinet that's being filled with so much diversity in so many ways. Proud that a president has the courage to take that kind of stand so formally. He's not just nudging his way. He's not just tweaking. He's wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm proud, and I'm kind of in a learning mode to watch and wonder, how is this really gonna shape our nation over the next 4 years?
Yeah, I'm excited about that bit. watching how it's gonna shape our nation. And every time, he's, like you said, he's not starting off quietly. He's being very ambitious. And every time I see him reverse um, one of Trump's policies, like the Muslim ban, and he's working immediately to get a path to citizenship.
Right.
Um,
Immigration.
yep, I'm breathing deeper every like every time I see something, and it's kind of the opposite effect of what would happen. Like, to your point about how can this be, um, over the past 4 years, my first how can this be was the day that after Donald Trump was elected. But I continued that. It's like it's a perpetual state of cognitive dissonance,
Okay.
which is, that's just, a psychological term
Mhm.
for when your brain literally, like, you don't have I think it's called a schema. I don't know. I'm reaching back to psych, like 15 in college, but your brain doesn't have a way to process what is unfolding before you, because it's so wildly different than what you were able to imagine could be. And that many of us have stayed in that place of cognitive dissonance for 4 years. Um, and yet others of us have been able to get more to a place of acceptance that this is possible. And that's what it sounds like for you. It's like,
Mhm.
yes, it is possible, and it is real that
Mhm.
people believe these things.
Yeah.
And rather than stay in that place of, I can't fathom it, it's healthier and certainly more uh, contentment achieving to say, yes, this is real. I'm going to accept the way that things are, and I'm going to decide what I want to do about it, and what I want to teach my offspring to um, embrace.
Hmm. And that it takes work to get there. And you're mentioning cognitive dissonance. I think that is probably what's going on with a lot of people around the pandemic. I know I certainly went there. I could not believe that we could get a pandemic in 2020. Just thought, how could it be? We've got so much medical specialty, so much science, so much tech. Um, we're so civilized, so advanced. How could it be that we could ever have a pandemic, especially in the US, but my gosh, around the world, and take our countries down? And so that, I think, affected me certainly in 2020. I think it affects a lot of people still.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm also thinking about, those that I coach. I think a lot of them have cognitive dissonance just in a couple of ways, especially women wanting to be perfect when who can define perfection? We're like more like pieces of art than engineering. And so perfect in whose eyes, and why would we strive to be perfect and think we could ever be perfect? So much pressure. And yet then when people come to me seeking improvement, seeking help with transformation in some way, part of the process is sharing feedback. And our natural inability to take that feedback and see it as helpful, and instead resist it or be hurt by it is incredible to me. That I've had a little bit of that going on this week, with a few coachees who know in their mind they've asked for feedback. They know in their mind that's what it will take to improve. And yet when it's received, gosh, tears, hurt, overwhelmed, just wanting to give up, just quit everything. What is that about us, Liz?
I don't know, but I am that way 100%. And I'm working with clients right now who are dealing with that too. And my review's right around the corner too. So this it's timely. I'm not sure what perfectionism is. Just such talk about the devil or poison for it's, but and I mean, I think the source is for women, certainly in gender and in being told that in order to have value, we have to be the prettiest, the skinniest, if we're speaking, we need to be, we need permission first of all, and we better be saying something that's going to be very pleasing to our audience. It's like we just are the realm of acceptance for us is so narrow, and so that breeds perfectionism. And here's the other thing. And again, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't really fully understand the root of this, but I know my perfectionism shows up in the form of I'm either amazing or I suck.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no in between. There's literally no in between. And it manifests all over the place for me. So I'm constantly either competing to win, to get this to be the best of the whatever the thing is, or I've decided I am worthless and I go into a deep shame spiral. And I've seen this with a client I was working with yesterday, same thing. And I don't know, it took me a lot of therapy and my therapist to finally say to me, you know what, I have some news for you. She said this to me like 8 years ago or something. She said, I have some news for you. You have a very black and white self-concept. And it turns out you're actually not horrible and you're not perfect. You're more complicated.
Congratulations. You're more complicated than that.
You're more complicated than that. And so, but I think, when you think about the pressure that we have as women to fit into these very narrow definitions of what it means to be attractive, to be intelligent, to be a good mother, daughter, friend, wife, sex object, right? Like it's so narrow. And so that breeds perfectionism. I don't know how to fully tackle it other than I'm thinking about your client and thinking about that moment where you hear something that's just really unpleasant and it's hard to hear, and maybe it feels mean-spirited, maybe you're questioning the motive. What I try to do, being the operative word, is to say to myself, yes, and so yes, I have, whatever trust issues with the person I think gave me this feedback, or if it's my boss, my belief is that my boss's perspective on me is limited, or compromised because they're threatened or they're whatever. Yes, those things may be true. And what can I take from this? What piece of this can actually help me grow if I accept the fact that it turns out I'm not perfect and I'm not a piece of shit.
Yeah. That's good. That's
somewhere
good.
in the middle.
That's
so
good.
I don't know. That's my coping strategy, but it doesn't always work. I feel like I have to take a Xanax before I have a annual review because I feel like I'm going to walk in the door and find out that they're like, why did we hire her? How did she get in here?
Gosh. Isn't that amazing? These horrible dramas that we tell about ourselves.
Yes, they're harrowing narratives unfolding in our minds. And it is everywhere. I have a client today, same thing. She's constantly waiting. She tells me constantly, I'm waiting for them to figure out that they should never have hired me. She's like, what if I jumped, Happy Days reference. Like I jumped the shark with this last opportunity, right? I shouldn't be making this much money. I shouldn't have this much responsibility. And they're figuring it out.
Gosh.
Isn't that screwed up?
It is so screwed up. What the hell?
I don't know. One thing we don't have to have cognitive dissonance about anymore, though, a woman being vice president.
I know. Yay.
Oh, I was did you?
A diverse woman.
Yes. It's
ethnically, culturally. Yes.
Yeah, she's just amazing. And if you didn't see the poet laureate, Amanda Gorman, oh, you got to Google it. Okay. Oh, this young woman is just everything that you're just blown away the whole time. I felt so present in the moment of history watching this young woman. She was fabulous. And you're like, as you're watching it, you're being so inspired because she's saying these words that are just so powerful and so inspiring. And then, but you're also looking at it, or at least for me, like a parent. Like I was watching her wanting to like help her and make sure she got through it. And she had these moments where she was perspiring and I wished I wanted to go over with a Kleenex and be like, I got you, honey. You're doing amazing. Keep going. Like it was.
Yeah. I saw a photo and noticed she's only 22. She could be my daughter. It's incredible.
The amount of poise that it's just amazing. You got to watch it. You got to watch it.
Yeah, I will.
I was watching her being sworn in with my kids and my mom, and it was just crying. My mom took me to see Geraldine Ferraro when she was running for vice president, and I got to actually like shake her hand and say two words to her, and I don't know, it just felt like what an incredible moment. And kept looking over at my kids and they had that look like, how long is this gonna last? And I just hope that they will remember it, like they can't fully appreciate the magnitude, but someday in the future they're gonna look back and go, I witnessed that with my grandma, so
well, in some ways they take it for granted because it shouldn't be such a big deal. So only with some age do we understand what a huge deal this is.
Oh my gosh, my mom's calling.
Okay.
Should we take it or should we say bye?
We should probably say bye. We'll catch you next week, Liz.
Okay.
Good luck.
All right.
Bye.
Hey, Mama.